In other video lectures, I've talked about the different forms that verbs occur in. Yeah, we've looked at the finite forms, present and past, and non-finite forms, the full infinitive, the bare infinitive, the ing form, and the participle. In this lecture, I'm going to look in a bit more detail at some of these forms. And we'll start by looking at the ing form. Why do we need the ing form? Well, look at this picture. If you want to describe what's going on, you would say something like, he is flying a kite. And why are you doing that? Well, when you look at it, it's happening now. Yeah? So you're describing something that is in progress. And this is what we call the present progressive. Yeah? Is the present tense form of to be, and then we've got flying, which is an ing form, and together they can be used to express that something is in progress at the present. Yeah, so we normally use the present progressive for actions and situations which are happening as we speak. So you can look at these two and see what the difference is. Mary goes to the gym, which is simple present, and Mary is going to the gym, which is present progressive. And if we express that with a timeline, it looks like this. Here is time, there's a point in time now. If Mary is actually going at the point of time that you're speaking, you use this present progressive to say Mary is going to the gym. On the other hand, if you want to say, well, Mary is in the habit of going to the gym, so there are a number of occasions when she goes, yeah, then you use the simple present. Mary goes to the gym. Yeah, so this habitual statement is one of the things that you can use the simple present for. And there are some other uses for the simple present. So you get what are called eternal statements, something like 2 and 2 is 4. It's always going to be the case, so you use the simple present. And then during states such as I know the answer. Yeah, you're not going to just stop knowing the answer, so you use the simple present. Also, if you're feeling very confident about something that's going to happen in the future, you can use the simple present to express it. Something like John leaves at 7 o'clock tonight. You can also use it in a conditional statement, and a conditional statement is an if-then statement. And something like, if you go, you'll regret it. Yeah, you use the simple present tense in one of these, in the if clause of one of these conditional statements. We've already seen that it's often used in live commentators simply to keep up with what's happening, often with sports. So something like he hits the ball but it is out. Yeah, and we can even sometimes use the simple present to talk about something that's happened in the past. So you could say something like, just now this guy walks up to me and hits me. Yeah, so and it gives a kind of urgency, a kind of like it's really, impacted on you. Okay, now, when you have the present progressive, you can also, of course, have the past progressive, and that involves using a past tense of to be, so that's was or were, and an ing form of a verb. So an example of this is, when I got up, it was raining and several kids were dancing in the puddles. Now that past progressive is normally used to talk about something that was already happening at a particular time in the past. And so if we look at the timeline, here there's now, and then there is a point before now, which is described by when I got up. And at that point, yeah, we could say, well, the raining was in progress at that point. Yeah, so we're using the past progressive to express if it was raining. Okay, let's move to a participle form, and we find that the participle form can actually be used for two slightly different sorts of things, and one of them is this. Yeah? You can say something like, I have woken up, or I've just woken up. And what you have here is have being present time and woken a participle form. Together they formed what is called the present perfect, and that's used to express that something began in the past and has continued until the moment of speech or just before. So I've woken up, I've just woken up. Yeah, it happened it started in the past and it's just finished by the time you can say I've woken up. Now there is a slightly different use of the present perfect, and that's this one. You look at this situation and the child might say, I have made the bed. Yeah. Now that does not necessarily have to happen just before the child saying it, but imagine the mother saying, go up to your room and make your bed, and the child can say, I have made the bed. Now that's relevant to the conversation they're having, even though the event may have happened a while back. So the present perfect can also be used to talk about a finished event with relevance to the present. And again, when you look at how it's formed, is you've got a present tense form of to have plus a participle. Now you have to be therefore quite careful, because what you see is that a past participle or perfect participle, that's different names for the participle, it can occur with a present tense form of to have, and the tense then is still present, yeah, even though the event described took place in the past or started in the past. Yeah, so keep in mind that tense and time are not the same thing. Now, of course, if you've got a present perfect form, you also are going to have a past perfect form, and this is formed with a past tense, with the past tense of to have, which is had, together with a participle. An example of this is, yesterday I realized that I had met John before. Now this form is used to talk about something that has already happened relative to a point in the past. So if we want to express that with a timeline, you get this. Yeah, you have got 3 moments in time. Yeah, you've got a time period where the meeting with John took place. Then you've got yesterday, and you've got now the moment of speaking. Yeah, and what's happening is that you're now talking about remembering. In yesterday I realized I had met John before. You're talking now about remembering an earlier event, and that's when you use the past perfect. Okay, let's try a few. So what's this? What forms of the verbs have we got here? I was talking to Mary this morning. Well, was is the past tense of to be. Yeah, so it's past, and talking is the inform and inform, and of course together they express the past progressive. So we can say, well, there was a moment in time before now, which is this morning. That's the moment in time in the past, and at that moment in time something was in progress. Yeah, so that was that at that point you were talking to Mary. So that's the past progressive. Let's try another one. John has brought the sandwiches. Okay, has is a present tense form of to have, and it's followed by brought, which is a participle form. So together they form the present perfect. Yeah. And you know, John has brought the sandwiches. The actual event of him bringing the sandwiches could have happened this morning. Say it's afternoon when we're talking. Why do we then use this present perfect tense? Well, for example, or form rather. Well, imagine the situation that we've all gone away together for the day, and in the afternoon we're having a picnic, Yeah, then you say John has brought the sandwiches because it's relevant to what we're talking about at the moment. Yeah, it's relevant to us having this picnic that he has brought them. Okay, what we can conclude then is that we need the different verb forms to talk about the points and periods of time at which events happen or things are the case.